students. Last day we have learned about like and unlike fractions. So today the next topic will be equivalent fractions. So at first we need to know the concept of equivalent. So equivalent, the term itself is not anything that denotes equal, but it is something which seems to be equal. Okay, so let us see an example. Suppose we have a box like this, and we have total two boxes which are having the same shape and same size. Okay, so now if I am dividing this box into four equal parts, and in the next case we are dividing the box into two equal parts. So in the first case, out of these four equal parts, we have shaded the first two parts, and in the second case we have shaded only one part. So if we look into this figure properly, we will see that the shaded part in both the cases are equal, but in this case what will be the fraction of the shaded part? In this case the total part is 4 and shaded part is 2, so the fraction will be 2 by 4. But in this case the total parts are 2 and shaded part is 1, so our fraction will be 1 by 2. Here see, both the fractions are different, but they denote the same amount. So these type of fractions are called equivalent fractions. We obtain one equivalent fraction from the other one. So let us see how. If I am talking about 1 by 2, so if I have 1 by 2 and I want to find out the equivalent fractions of this fraction, we will first multiply both numerator and denominator with the same number. Always remember, we have to multiply numerator as well as denominator with the same number, always. So our fraction becomes 2 by 4. This is exactly the fraction which was there in the previous. Now if I multiply this 1 by 2 with 3, then we will get 3 by 6. So that means the two equivalent fractions of 1 by 2 is 2 by 4 and 3 by 6. You can find out more equivalent fractions by multiplying with 4, then 5, then 6 and so on. So depending on the number of equivalent fractions you have to find out, you have to multiply or you have to divide. So now let us see how to divide. Suppose we have 2 by 4. So we can divide this fraction with same number. Suppose dividing both the fractions with 2. So this will give us 1 by 2. So that means from 1 by 2 we can get 2 by 4, and from 2 by 4 also we can get 1 by 2. Okay. So this denotes that this is how we find out equivalent fractions. Now let us move on to the exercise. The exercise I have taken sum number 1 part 6. Okay. It says that you have to find out 5 equivalent fractions of the given fraction. So here the given fraction is 6 by 11. So if I want to find out 5 equivalent fraction of this, so first we can do is we can multiply with 2. Remember, we have to start with 2 always because that will make our multiplication easier. So 6 multiplied with 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and then 6. So in this way we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4 and total 5 equivalent fractions. Okay. So now we have to write down the answer for multiplication. So this is 12 by 22. This is 18 by 33. This is 24 by 44. This is 30 by 55. And this is 36 by 66. So these 5 are the 5 equivalent fractions of this fraction. Now the next question, sum number 2 says, which of the following pairs are equivalent fraction? So always remember, if two fractions are given, first we have learned 1 by 2 and 2 by 4, we have learned that both of them are equivalent fractions. So whenever you have two pair of fractions and it says that you have to find out whether they are equivalent, what will you do? You will simply cross multiply them and you will get the, if you get the same result, then they are equivalent. For 1 by 2, the numerator is 1. So if I cross multiply, 1 will be multiplied with 4. So 1 multiplied with 4 gives us 4. Now, if we see in this part, denominator part, we have 2 and this 2 will be cross multiplied with the numerator of this second fraction. So 2 into 2, this also gives us 4. So since both the numbers are giving us the same result, so we can say that these two are equivalent fractions. Okay. So using this concept, we will look into these sums. Okay. So here we have two fractions, 3 by 8 and 15 by 40. So if we cross multiply, we have to write by cross multiply. We have to multiply 3 and 40 first because this numerator and this denominator. Okay. So 3 4 is 12 and we have a 0 here. So 120. And next we have 8 and 15. So we have to multiply 8 into 15 gives us 5 8 40, carry 4, 8 1 8 plus 4 is 12. So see, both the numbers are same. So we can say that therefore they are equivalent fractions. If both the numbers which are coming after multiplication are different, in that case we will say that they are not equivalent fractions. Okay? Now moving on to the next one, sum number 4. The question says find the equivalent fraction of 5 by 9 having the first one is denominator 54. Okay? So for solving the first one, we have to first write down the given fraction. Okay? Then we have to see what we have to get. So we have to get the denominator 54. Okay? So we have to definitely multiply this 9 because denominator we have 9. So for equivalent fraction we know we have to multiply or divide. Since we have to get a greater number, that means we have to multiply. So that means this 5 and this 9, they both have to be multiplied with one number so that we get 54 in the denominator. So we know that 9 6 54. So already I have mentioned that for fraction you have to multiply both numerator and denominator with the same number. So you can multiply 9 with 6. Then 5 also we have to multiply with the same number 6. So 5 6 give us 1. So this is the fraction with denominator 54. Now next we have numerator 35. So we will first write down 5 by 9, then 5 multiplied with which number gives us 35? 5 7 35. So that means 9 also we have to multiply with 7. So 9 7 63. So these are the two fractions. First one with denominator 54 and second one with numerator. Now next we have sum number 8. It says that find the equivalent fraction of 56 by 70 with numerator 4. Now see, here we have the given fraction as 56 by 70 and we have to get a fraction whose numerator will be 4. So that means definitely we have to divide this 56 because this number is smaller. So 56 we have to divide with some number so that we get 4. So how do we get that? We can divide 56 by 4 directly. So we have 4 1 4 then 16 and 4 4 16. So that means if we divide 56 with 14, we will get 4. So that means 70 also have to be divided with 14. So if I divide 70 by 14, then it will be 7 2 14, 7 10 70. Then 2 5 10. So in this case, the denominator becomes 5. So this is what you will get the fraction, equivalent fraction of 56 by 70 with numerator 4. Now next we have denominator 10. So for denominator 10, again we have to write down the same fraction. In this case our denominator will be 10. So that means 70 if we divide by 7, then we will get 10. So that means 56 also if we divide with 7, we will get 8. So these are the two equivalent fractions. The first one with numerator 4 and second one with numerator 8. Now next one we have reducing of the fractions. So we have to reduce this fraction. Reduce means what? we have to cancel or divide the fraction to get a smaller fractions. Okay, so we can cancel these two fractions. So 84 and 98, we both can cancel them with 2. So if we cancel this 2, we will get 248, 224. So we are getting 42 here, and here we are getting 248, then 80, 29, 80. So numerator is 42, denominator is 49. Now see, both of these we can cancel with 7 because 7 6 42 and 7 7 49. Now we are getting 6 by 7. So after this, see, we cannot cancel it anymore, right? So that means 84 by 98 can be written as 6 by 7 after reducing the fraction. Now see, next we have all the fractions, and sum number 10 says that we have to show that these fractions are already in their lowest form. So lowest form means we cannot cancel these fractions with anything else. Okay? So suppose we have a fraction 1 by 2. So this is already in its lowest form. We cannot cancel them. So in this case what happens is the HCF of the two fractions becomes 1. So that means if we can prove that the HCF of these two numbers is 1, then we can say that each fraction is already in its lowest form. Okay? So let us find out the HCF. So 25 if we divide 36, 25 125. So here we have 1, here also we have 1. Now 11, we have to divide 25. So 11 to 22. So remainder is 3. Here I am using division method of HCF. Now next I have 11. So 3, 3, 9. Then remainder is 2. Now we have 3 here. So 2, 1, 2. Then remainder is 1. Then we have to divide with 2. So 1, 2, 2. So no more remainder now. So our calculation ends here. In this case, this number becomes a HCF. So here HCF is how much? 1. So since HCF is 1, we can say that therefore 25 by 36 is in its lowest